Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
And how are you doing, Hector?
I'm doing well. I'm a little bit sick and under the weather, but I'm here.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all good, man.
So I've got my my mother and my brother in town. I always stop when I go to say that because I've never had my mum and my brother only in town.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a weird thing to come out of my mouth. Really, really nice to have them though. It's a blast.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you getting to spend some time with them and stuff.
Yeah, Josh and I had a jam today, and that's something
that's awesome.
We haven't done that since we were teenagers. Man.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun. It's like we grew up doing that. He had a drum kit and I had a guitar, and we just used to kick around the house, in the vacations and stuff, in the school holidays, and just jam.
Yeah,
that was the whole thing. So it's so nice to do.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Yeah.
Totally. You know that crazy Yamaha EAX10 thing that I bought?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So turns out it is really good for recording. So we're making this kind of trip hoppy type of a jazzy trip hop thing, and I got Josh drumming on that, and it has all these presets to make the drums sound like a kind of a vinyl loop and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I've been having fun.
Man.
And Mum has taken Josh to Murakami Museum.
Nice. Yeah. Fancy.
It's lovely up there. Down there, I should say.
Down there.
So what did we do this weekend? We played. Oh yeah. Okay. So I feel like here's the thing. I don't think I would usually do this, but this time it's different.
It is different because it wasn't a venue.
Right. It wasn't a venue at all. And Meg O'Malley's, we
love you.
Yeah. But we arrived, and the bouncer blanched, and he was like, I just told the sound person to go home.
That there's no band tonight.
Yeah, he thought for some reason there was no band. I sort of know why, but it's no excuse. They don't usually have bands on Fridays except us.
Except us, yeah.
But we've been doing it for ages on Fridays. Yeah. So it's stupid anyway. So instead of going to speak to some management or something, she just believed that guy and
left.
Yeah, went home. And then we got there. We probably passed her on the road. I mean,
she couldn't have left 5 or 10 minutes prior to us getting there.
Yeah, totally. And we told the manager. We were like, oh no, the sound guys left, and then he rang her, and then he was like, don't worry, she'll be back in 5 minutes. And it was all meant to be just happening immediately. And 2.5 hours later, or whatever it is.
Yeah, man, I felt like when my kids were watching SpongeBob, man, it's like one eternity later. Like, that's what it felt like. We were sitting there, just waiting and waiting. They kept running out, going, it'll be 5 more minutes, it'll be 5 more minutes, it'll be 5 more minutes. And 2.5 hours later. Yeah,
and the thing is, it's not really, the wait wouldn't have been that big of a deal if we hadn't driven 2.5 hours to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was a long way for us to go, and we just anyway, once she started doing the sound, it turns out
it was phenomenal. Phenomenally bad, that is.
Yeah, it was the worst. And we are not prima donnas. We're just not. We deal
I'm
with
a little bit of a prima donna.
Yeah, you are a little bit of a prima donna, aren't you?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, I'm not prima donna. Well, I am a prima donna, but not where sound is concerned.
No.
And anyway, it was terrible. It's like she'd never done sound before in her life.
And she was getting frustrated, and we would say stuff to her like, can you bring this up? Can you bring this down? There's 2 monitors. We had the in-ears, and then James had a wedge. And we were telling her to raise something in the wedge, and it was getting louder in the in-ears. And we're telling her that she's got the wrong one.
She had the
She looked like she was going to start crying.
Right.
I felt bad for her.
Yeah, me too.
I really felt bad for her.
I couldn't even look at her after a certain point. After about 10 minits, I was just so done in by the whole thing and angry that I was just kind of staring at the ceiling to stop myself from glaring at her.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been in that situation. I've been that sound guy that doesn't know how to do it. You just find yourself in that situation. I know how to do it now, but I know the horrible feeling it is.
Yeah, but it's not like she's some random sound person. Supposedly, she's been there before. That's not her first time there, and she works for a sound company, and they send different people or whatever. But she's been to that venue more than once. So
it was really weird.
I have no idea what was going on there.
She showed up with her shifty boyfriend, and the whole thing was
weird.
Really weird.
Yes, shifty boyfriend. He said it.
Yeah.
Was it me?
It was Frank.
It was
no. It was. I don't know. I'm happy to throw her under the bus. It was the worst sound I've ever had, and I've been doing this for over 20 years.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever I don't think we've ever said anything bad about a sound person on the podcast before.
No.
This actually deserved it.
It was legendary. It was legendary. I want to say that if I wasn't so kind of despondent about the whole situation, I just would have been in awe.
On the bright side, every now and then when we're not doing our own sound and we have a sound person, they don't know what to make with the what to do with the upright bass. So I get a lot of feedback, and we've been trying some pedals and things like that. So I tend to get frustrated in those situations, right? So on the bright side, this was so astronomically bad that from now on, it's probably not going to be that bad. So I'll be like, well, at least it's not as bad as that one time.
I know, yeah. It's like a bottom,
Right,
it's like an alcoholic's bottom. Yeah. It was insane. It was an alcoholic's bottom. That's pretty funny.
Anyway, SA, sound anonymous.
My bad.
Yeah, so that was brutal. And then I played at Guanabana's on the Sunday, and it was just a solo gig, and I had a lot of fun.
Sound was great.
Yeah, it was great. Well, Sierra was doing it.
Oh, yeah,
she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And my mum and brother came to that, and
Nice.
a bunch of people came. It was cool. I had a really good time.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got Zoo Peculiar with us. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
Mediocre.
Yeah. I thought we just listened to you guys. The
Yeah,
whole time.
we were
how
just
this works.
lulled into a beautiful sense of serenity by the lyricism of your dialect.
Yeah.
Well, I know
ASMR.
that Andy Johnson finds me good to go to sleep to. He listens to a lot of these episodes.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know how to take that. He says
tiny nipples.
He says he
also.
listens to that.
Right? He and I
They're the
have
size
the same
of a mercury dime.
That's wild.
we have this.
Same
we're
nipples?
we're nipple brothers.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
You have tiny nipples like that?
Yep.
Maybe later
That's
in
so
the show we
crazy.
might have to
Yeah.
reveal those.
Rating purposes.
Yes.
I told you that's the other show.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you learn about someone when you're in a band with them for a long
Yeah,
time.
well,
We
mine
have-
are like $50.
Oh, okay.
big
so,
half
So we
dollars.
have
Hairless.
Yeah.
like opposite ends of the nipple spectrum.
Yeah, or a sand dollar.
Yeah.
more like a sand dollar
Starfish.
Don't
with
be
a
racist.
papilla on it. Well, yeah.
Starfish. It's like giant pasties,
Yeah,
basically.
well,
right?
it's close. I had that taken care of.
So yeah, I've been hoping to get you guys on here for a long time. We've been talking about it for probably over a year, maybe 2.
Yeah,
And it's
happy
super,
to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. Thanks for coming. And I know that you just released a new record, which is super exciting. And I suppose that's a great reason to come and talk about it and get out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we usually don't. We do promotionals, but we use old media.
Yeah, there you go.
Newspapers, VHS,
Betamax.
Betamax,
Handwritten
telegraphs,
letters. Yeah.
Pigeons.
and
Edison
cuneiform. Cuneiform
Well,
tablets.
this is going straight to cassette, so don't worry.
Totally. Perfect.
And then we're
perfect.
burying it in a field.
perfect.
Right.
Time
Going
capsules.
time capsules, yeah.
That was our last album. That was our last album. Time travel.
So have you ever heard of a thing called Blue Pizza?
Blue pizza.
Okay, so
You mean like pizza I've left in my fridge for like 6 months and I
By
still
fridge,
go
he means
for
his
it?
car.
Blue?
Yeah.
Blue Peter is a children's TV show, and they used to make this huge deal over the fact that in the 70s they'd put a time capsule down like under the ground, and when they finally revealed it in the 2000s. It was the most underwhelming thing. They used to talk about it all the time. They bigged up this huge thing that they were going to open it, and it was all just wet and soggy,
Yeah.
and like they were like
Crayon drawings.
Yeah, just,
you know,
there was like 3
pair of
things
socks.
in there. Yeah. So the Blue
Jacks.
Pizza
Yeah.
time capsule was
Yeah.
a huge,
Mike and
a
Ike's.
huge waste of everyone's
Oh,
time.
I like nice. That'd be
An old bag of Mike, just Mike.
All stuck
It
together.
was before, just Mike.
Yeah.
I like when they're really
Ike wasn't
old.
even
Before
around.
he went corporate.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah, before he went
toothsome.
corporate, just like before Ike ruined the whole thing. Fucking Ike.
So, why don't we go right back to the beginning of all of you guys' musical journeys? And I'm going to ask you, Frank, how did you find yourself getting into music when you were young? And, like, what's the story there? Did you have supportive parents and stuff?
Well, sort of, half. I had a supportive mother. I had a delinquent father. Remember?
He's still alive.
He's still alive. My mother has passed, but my father's still alive, and I hope he's watching.
Yeah.
Dad, you son of a bitch. But anyway, he did help my mother rent an oboe for me.
Okay.
And that's what I started with
Oh, cool.
in the 2nd grade.
Oh, wow.
And I played the oboe until
That's a young oboist.
I was the youngest oboist.
Yeah,
Maybe ever. And then I moved to Florida, and I kept playing. Well, I stopped playing when I moved down here. I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah. Where did you say you're from again?
Philadelphia, the
Philadelphia,
greatest city on the face of the earth, but also
Hell
the
yeah.
worst.
I'd be there.
Also, the
Played there
first
before.
city, I believe. Yeah.
yeah.
It was founded before Rome. I've heard. My uncle Benjamin Franklin taught me that. But yeah, oboe, and I played piano, on and off. And my brother played French horn. I dabbled with that, and then I just got wrapped up in keyboards.
Nice.
Piano.
When did that start?
I would say probably somewhere around middle school.
Okay.
And I had some formal lessons. I basically taught myself.
Yeah, cool.
But, yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure how old you are. But was this the kind of YouTube university situation?
Yes.
YouTube.
I don't think they even
It
have
was
the
just
internet.
called Tube.
Yeah.
And it came like a bank, like a pneumatic tube.
You
It
had
was
that
just sheet
vibe about
music
you where
that
you
came
could be
down.
30 and
Yeah.
you could be 50. I
That,
just have no idea.
that's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going for. It's the average of the sum divided by 3.
Okay. Because I can do quick math.
Well,
I can.
we'll see.
But yeah, okay, that's cool. You got into piano. Did you do any kind of school music stuff, or
How do you mean?
like bands and kind of?
I was
lessons?
I was the only oboist in the marching band.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Okay.
Well, I was in the orchestra and the jazz band and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Then I moved to Florida where there are no arts programs because education's underfunded.
Yeah.
And I had
For
to just
sure.
play oboe in the dark by myself. That's how I met my drummer.
Oh, there you go.
In the dark.
In the
yeah.
dark,
Yeah.
playing
By
oboe.
yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, by myself.
Wow.
And he just happened to be there.
Oboe's what I called my dick.
Yeah. A lot of metaphors. It's true. The oboe. We still call it
Yeah,
that.
we still play the
The
oboe.
oboe.
Still
Yeah.
play the oboe.
He's
Okay.
playing the oboe. He goes, I'm playing the oboe. I'll call you in 2 minutes.
Just a young Frank busking playing the oboe outside of a dimly lit Chuck E. Cheese.
The beginning of the zoo. Yeah.
In the outskirts of it. Oh, my God. Dark times.
Remember that? You
Yeah.
remember that?
Oh, what a melodious instrument. So somber. So somber.
Such
Oh,
a somber.
Oh, the
It is.
reeds.
Oh, my God.
What about you, Ryan? How did you find yourself playing music?
So in middle school, we were allowed to pick from 3 instruments when your parents left you at school.
Yeah.
And it was drums and keyboards and guitar, and drums just seemed the way to go. And so I picked it up and just never looked back.
Nice.
Yeah.
How old were you? Well, I'm English. Middle school doesn't mean a huge amount to me.
That's true. Yeah, I apologize. So I was probably 6th grade. So what are you in 6th grade? Like
fifth year.
like 9, something like that.
5th year
8?
at
Okay.
Hogwarts.
So, yeah. Yeah.
The 5th year at
Yeah.
Hogwarts. Right when you start charms,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
potions.
Yeah. So 9. You've been playing drums a long time.
Long time. Yeah. I hate to admit that because I'm not that good at it. Yeah. But
I always say that.
He's
Fantastic.
more than mediocre, I think most people would.
yeah, subpar. I like to
Subpar.
say.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Almost par,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is pretty good.
I
Like-
know
like-
which side to sit on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
The front, behind them.
The back.
But yeah,
I believe
behind
it
the
is.
drums.
Yeah.
In front of the oboe.
Yeah.
In front of the
Yes,
oboe,
exactly.
behind
Yeah.
the drums.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's cool. Did you do any school stuff with it?
My parents sent me to Catholic school, so we didn't have like much of an arts or music program. Yeah.
Okay.
So
is
it
that
was,
a normal thing with Catholic schools? I have no idea.
yeah, the money goes into
Florida.
the religious programs
Gotcha.
and not
Yeah.
to the arts.
Goes
Yeah, I
to
went
the
to a
Pope. Goes to
Catholic
the
school.
Pope.
We had a band, but it wasn't like a major part of the school or anything
Yeah,
like that.
not
yeah,
even
yeah.
close.
Probably
Yeah.
a lot of like choral stuff and like
We
singing.
played in
A
the
lot
Christmas
of course.
pageants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had like 2 shows a year or something like that. That was
Yeah.
it. And there was
Yeah.
like 1,000 kids in the school, and there was probably 30 kids in the band. You
Yeah.
know, like that was it.
Yeah, my high school didn't have a marching band, so
We
it's
didn't
like
have one
I
We
either.
had
couldn't
4
join that.
people in our band.
In which band?
In high school, we all graduated from the same high school,
Yeah.
but like
you?
at wildly, well, not wildly different times. Well, we graduated the same
Rod's
year.
12 years older than all of us. So, yeah.
He's 75 years old. I wish.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but a young 75.
Moisturized.
Vivacious.
They started at our high school when I came down there. I'm like, there's no music, and they did start a thing, and it was just a viola, the oboe, a flautist.
Yeah.
And,
It was in the parking
and
lot.
I
of
think
the
you
high
were just
school.
playing spoons.
Yeah, I clapped.
Yeah, he clapped.
Yeah. and
Nice.
snapped, yeah.
Viola, oboe, flute, and spoon.
And clapping,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Snapping.
That sounds like a
clapping.
thing.
Yeah.
And they just played Peter and the Wolf.
That's it. That's all we did. On repeat. Yeah. That's it. That's all we could figure out. I
Pretty
blame the
impressive that you
viola.
figured out Peter and the
Yeah,
Wolf.
I blame the viola.
So, Rod, how did the bass end up happening?
Well, I was handed a recorder in school, like elementary school.
Yeah, I
and
remember
then,
that. I was actually pretty
in
good at the
religious
recorder.
schools, so of course I had to do it on my own. So I took piano for a little bit, and then I got the bug, saw some of the metal guitars, and I thought that was really cool. So I got a guitar, and then realized that I couldn't play anywhere near like them, and I was never going to. So
Yeah.
so then I just started playing like chords and stuff like that, and then.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's the guitar route into bass, the piano and guitar kind of route into bass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I always find it interesting when people, that's their first thing and then they just pursue it. I always think it's pretty cool, because they must see it from a completely different way than you would if you play the guitar, and if you play the guitar, you see the bass at least initially from a guitarist's perspective, you know what I mean? But if you've just always been a bass player, I don't know. I want to look through the eyes of someone who's always been a bass player.
I'm still interested in, and I still play the other instruments, but
Yeah.
bass is what I play in the band.
Yeah. Cool, man. So
He actually used to, if I may interject, he used to, we had a previous project, he used to play a guitar in an act regularly.
Oh,
Because when we first brought him on board, we were like, okay, maybe we're good. Because in our previous act, I played bass on with my left hand on the keyboard.
Yeah.
And would feed it through. And we were experimenting with that. And we're like, okay, well, what should we do? And we're like, well, we love Roddy. So we're like, we got to get him in here. So should we do...
But the guitar and piano were fighting
because
for
of
the
the
same
timbre.
All the
It was
mid-range,
just-
yeah.
Right, and I was doing a lot of mids, and then I was
I've
like,
been
okay.
there, mate. I've been there. Like
totally.
friend Virgil Price and I, for a while we were doing a lot of duos together, and it was guitar and keys.
Yeah.
And it's just something. Yeah, it's just a lot of like mids.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, and then about what, I mean, we probably did it with the guitar 2 or 3 times, and then we're like, what did you pick up? And he just, like a fish to water.
Oh, nice.
Like
Fantastic.
an awkward fish, but a fish
More like
nonetheless.
an otter.
Well, like a what do you call it?
Awkward
Not
fish
a
in a puddle.
mudfish exactly.
mud skipper.
Mud skipper, like a mud skipper, land and sea.
Crayfish.
Yeah, like a cavefish, land and sea.
Yeah.
Or axolotl, a
merman.
salamander,
a
amphibious,
horseshoe
very
crab.
amphibious,
Man
amphibious.
of war.
Man of war, yeah, Portuguese man of war, yes. Oh,
man.
terrifying.
They don't do too well on land.
Oof, the terrible creatures.
All right, yeah. So how did the band start? What happened? How did you guys get together?
Well, me and Fran used to play in high school together, and
Yeah.
the crazy part is that like the music that you hear today is very similar to what we just always started. It just came very natural. Like,
Yeah,
that's
circus
just
music.
it's just what happened
Yeah.
when we picked up our instruments, and we were in a band before this, and it's just similar, like weird, just kind of like
huge in Germany.
huge.
Yeah,
Probably one of the
Doppelganger.
biggest,
Probably this, like, I don't know, 34th
huge,
biggest band in
Germany.
southeastern
Dusseldorf.
Dusseldorf.
Okay.
Very
I believe,
localized.
yeah.
But
Niche, if you will.
very niche, very
Yeah.
niche.
But and then we, on and off we just played, and then I just begged because when me and Fran play, it's just so natural, and then so I was like, so we started playing, and then we needed to add like another element, and me and Rod have known each other for a million years, and I was like, this just makes sense. Like the three of us just have like really crazy personalities.
We were actually playing in a project together too.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jingle Pop?
Yeah.
Concho Billy.
Concho
Whoa.
Billy, that's very jingle pop-ish.
Yeah.
We're writing
Micro songs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Guitar and
awesome.
drums.
Some of my
They're like
favorite
30
records are those
second
little
songs.
30-second
Yeah.
songs. Yeah. There's that Fat, legendary Fat, that LP.
Yeah.
And we did an English version of that. Exactly the same thing, and we all had to write 30-second songs. So Sonic Boom 6 has a 30-second song. I love it. You just got to cram it all together.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
60 songs on an album.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Yeah, it just
it's
keeps it
it's a
fresh.
short album.
Just
Just 60.
and for our generation, our generation maybe is even worse than the younger ones for that. I don't know. I've no attention span.
Zero
So it's
attention
perfect.
span.
Yeah. So you said that the music came naturally, almost like this kind of like a large palette and circusy kind of a vibe. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, from a purely conceptual point of view, I would say that a lot of it has to do with just the mechanics of how a keyboard works.
Yeah.
So, and I run into this problem when I play with other people all the time, where just naturally you have to syncopate a lot.
Yeah.
And, you can't do a lot of the things that you do on a guitar. You can play everything, right? There's only 2 songwriting instruments, effectively, right? A guitar and a piano, and/or variations thereof. And,
Well, it does immediately change what you're playing. It does immediately change what you're playing.
No, you're playing the same thing, but the whole
right. Earlier today,
shifts.
Right. Earlier today, I was writing a song with this guy Keith. It's one of the things I do here is do some songwriting classes. I was working on this song with him, and we were kind of workshopping the lyrics over the piano, just trying to figure it out. And then all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh, hang on, this is really leaning into kind of like Billy Joel kind of doing. This definitely isn't what the song actually sounds like. So I had to jump back to the recording.
There's a little bit. That's one thing we didn't do much of. Well, a little bit, I guess, because he does lapse into that.
I didn't mean that in any way.
No.
Other than like it was getting kind of it was getting kind of smooth.
My Godfather, William Joel. I love him. I ran into him. Speaking of Billy Joel, I ran into him in a Wawa one time when I was about 9 years old.
Oh, sick!
When he was married to Christy Brinkley, with my mother buying milk.
Does he live down here now, or like just?
He lived. He has a house in. Well, he had one in Manalapan, and then he had the other one. And I found out about this. I ran into Eric Clapton at an Italian restaurant called Art Basil.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah, Art Basil.
Oh, that's funny.
On Lantana and A1A.
Oh, Basil's funny.
Eric Clapton came up and asked me where the bathroom was, and I directed him to where it was. And at first I didn't realize who it was. And then the waitress goes, you just... And she goes, Billy Joel comes here all the time, too. And I was like, oh. But, the first time I saw him, he was buying milk at a Wawa. It didn't look like it was going well. They were divorced very shortly thereafter. She was lovely. I was like 9. What did I know? But
she wanted skim. He wanted.
Yeah, that's right. He wanted. He wanted half and half.
Bottle of whole.
Yeah, bottle of whole. 2%.
My wife used to live real near him in Oyster Bay, so she was going on about him.
Well, yeah. He still got. Well, I think he still has the place there. I don't know. We're not in touch anymore. We don't keep in contact.
Estranged. We're
estranged. Me and my godfather William Joel.
All right, so we discussed the nature of the fact that the piano kind of leans towards that style of music. Would you say there's any other reasons why?
We like to push. I mean, like, it's just like what could we do to like throw the audience off a little bit, and that's what we kind of try to aim towards,
Yeah.
Just to make
it's pretty punk rock, man. It's like it just sort of there's an art element to it. It's not just like writing songs, there's a whole other side to your music and your stage performance and everything, which I just think's awesome. I was curious, like, because I've never really spoken to you at all about it. It's like when it comes to like other mediums, like do any of you guys like sort of visual artists or anything like that?
Oh, we all do really cool stuff. Like Rod's a DJ. He does like DJ music. I'm a stand-up comic.
Performance art. He's
I'm
also
an artist.
a visual artist.
Visual artist.
He's a mosaicist.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
that's cool.
I was an amateur sculpturist, a haikuist, and an accomplished poet, in fact. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But literary, published, multiple publications, many. But
that's my other life in England.
mosaics. Right, remember? A romantic poet, like a young John Keats, a middle-aged John Keats. I wish he didn't survive. He died at 25, but...
I think when you do like a lot of different mediums, like you could like step outside the box a little bit and like, what could we do to like really test our audience a little bit, which is fun for us. Like we were talking about before it started, where, just like you finish a song and there's dead silence and most people would be mortified, and we like love that.
That's great for Hector to hear, because I think sometimes, like, with Euphobia being that kind of band that's kind of challenging a little bit, I think so. I think sometimes that kind of freaks Hector out a little bit.
And it does. It does. Like, we get to the end of a song and like people just are just staring at us, and I'm like, oh God, like,
you
this
should
is
love that.
But but Justin always tells me.
Right?
Justin always tells me if the audience feels uncomfortable, we've done our job.
Absolutely. You're there.
Is that trademarked?
So,
is that trademarked?
It's coined and trademarked.
Coined and trademarked. We'll just paraphrase it and then.
Well, that was like the whole kind of almost like that's Velvet Underground kind of stuff, like the infusing that art into music.
Postmodernism.
Yeah, and punk essentially.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with and we played with multitudes of punk bands. I mean, he was in punk bands forever.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when I first met him. He was in a punk band, and that syncopation, that whole all the beats, the tempos, everything. That's punk.
Yeah.
What did they call us? The first review we ever got, they called us polka punk.
Oh, there you go.
I
well,
like
that-
that.
We're like, we'll
I
take
kind
it.
of like that.
Yeah,
At the time, polka punk was a thing. You remember that was actually a thing at that time?
It was tangential to what we were doing, but it was sort of it was close.
Yeah, yeah. There was like a lot.
We
yeah.
love polkas.
What are they called?
We like
I've
kielbasa and
forgotten.
We
pierogies.
love. Oh my God, we love it.
What's that like polka-y punk band called again?
Which one? Gogo Bordello.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, we get
Yeah, I went
We
to see
played
them
their
a few
after
times.
party once.
Really?
Yeah, remember?
Oh,
They didn't
cool.
show up.
They didn't show up,
Oh,
but
damn.
you know,
They were very rude.
allegedly, one of them did.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Or,
really?
well,
Snuck
or
in.
maybe it was the costume mistress, but somebody affiliated. I don't know, but
One of
yeah.
their fans was there.
One of their fans was there,
I've always
and
enjoyed
one of
watching
our
live
fans was
cinema.
there, and it was the same fan.
Our fan showed up.
Our fan showed up, and it was the same fan. It was a Gogo Bordello fan.
Stylist for Go
Yeah,
Go Bordello.
yeah. And they wrote a terrible review of our show.
Yeah.
So this sort of leads nicely into
Scathing.
this leads nicely into like that whole period of time in Lake Worth around here with all the bands that were around like K Lastma and Everyman and stuff like yeah, we were talking about that before we turned the mics on and how that influenced your sound and why it influenced your sound and stuff like that. So if you let's get into that a little
I
bit.
mean, I think at the time, when we started that sort of initial project, because we always had the circus element. That's sort of like the beating cotton candy heart of what we do, so to speak, if you will, if I may use a metaphor.
No metaphors.
No metaphors. Well, I'll use a simile then. But a lot of it had to do with the fact that we were seeing there was a certain energy there. Where the turnouts and what they were doing, and we really like the Eastern European thing, which you can kind of, dovetail into that.
Yeah.
And
There was an energy there. It's like
it
some
was
kind
great.
of zeitgeist about the whole
Yeah,
thing.
it was great. And then the sideshow thing, the bass player Timmy's a good buddy of ours, and he was what would you call him? Sideshow. Well, he's a upright bass player, but he also would, he taught us how to.
He'd been shown some things.
Yeah, he taught us.
Yeah.
He did beds of nails and so forth. He taught us how to jam.
Blockhead.
Yeah, but he taught us the human blockhead thing. We can both shove a used to be able to shove a whole screwdriver into our sinuses. Remember that?
Really?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Makes
but we
me
did
cringe just thinking
it.
about it.
Well, even then, and he's like, you'll sneeze the first few times.
Oh my word.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Don't worry if your
That-
brain oozes out a little bit. It's
yeah.
normal.
It was like, he's like, don't go too far, you'll go blind.
Oh my word.
And, and then we're looking at it, gives me and Rod back, and then he's like, okay. And then, so they were involved with that, and they used to do a lot of fire breathing stuff.
Yeah, and the dollar bills.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
we
yeah,
used
yeah, all that shock artist stuff.
If anyone hasn't seen him, he used to staple dollar bills to all over the bass player.
Yeah.
So I've done it.
Yeah.
I've stapled a dollar bill.
We've
and
all done
Yep.
it.
So it wasn't just dollar bills, though. It was bills of varying amounts, too.
Yeah, true. No,
I
totally.
was talking to him the other day, and he was saying that there was one guy that used to do $100 bill.
Really?
That's awesome.
Oh, that's good on him.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That's the best.
Then he'd have to pop the infected staples.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Hepatitis.
Yeah,
hepatitis. Yeah.
septic.
Sure.
Oh man.
Yeah,
so
they were sick though. weren't
it was a whole sort of like a scene.
they? Yeah.
And I kind of got ushered in because I was living down in Miami, and then I relocated and then was back in Pennsylvania. And I came back and I was like, okay, well, what's going on? And these guys took me to a show of theirs, and we're like, well, we're close to this.
Yeah.
Let's compose a few things where we
Yeah.
could play with them.
We could write
Yeah.
anything. so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
let's do
yeah.
this. This makes sense.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then we hopped in there. Not was quasi parody, I think, kind of in a way. Where
Well,
we're
we
like,
started a war with them at
Yeah,
one
we
point,
did.
just for fun.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They're our
Any-
friends, but
yeah,
like
A fake beef.
Yeah, anybody
it was good.
can do
Yeah,
this.
it was good.
Look, we don't even have a stand-up bass player or a guitar or a mandolin. We're just gonna do this with.
Do you remember the Darling Sweets?
We
Oh,
played
yeah.
with them a bunch.
Yeah, yeah.
Love those
Yeah,
guys.
they were great.
That whole thing was like I was
That was
so
part
about
of that whole milieu.
Yeah, because when people say that, a lot of people who I know will be like, oh, there's no music down here anymore, and da da da. I think part of the reason for that is because that scene was awesome.
It was
Now
awesome.
it is just gone.
It was a huge part of this whole
Yeah.
region's aesthetic heritage, and just the way that it was for a long time. Besides obviously subscenes like metal and so forth, they're ubiquitous. But that was I'd never really seen much of that going on outside of here and a few other really localized places around the country. And I was like,
Yeah.
this
When
is a Floridian
Absolutely,
thing.
Yeah, it was happening when I got here, and I was
so
just
we
delighted by
stole
it.
it.
Yeah. I did everything I could to kind of like ingratiate myself with all those guys,
Yeah.
and I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. We played with them. We played with the Darling Sweets a bunch of times.
To us,
Viva
it
La
was just-
Vox,
yeah.
Viva La
Oh,
Vox.
Viva La
Yeah.
Vox,
We
right.
still every
they're
now
the
and again play
original,
with
aren't
them.
they?
Hell yeah! One of our we were just over in Lake Worth, and we're like, we played a show with Viva La Vox here. What? Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, something like that.
And when it was just 3-piece, the drummer just had a 2-piece kit.
It's still a thing,
Hey,
isn't it? It's like somewhere.
They're
in the-
still jamming in North
Yeah,
Carolina. Yeah, we play with them every time we go.
Asheville, I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
That's
Yeah.
fine. We just played Asheville.
Yeah, I see
They're there.
Scarecrow Jenkins,
Oh, my God,
online.
yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Jenkins.
Dr.
Oh, my
Jenkins.
God, my
God.
physician, Dr.
Yeah,
Jenkins.
my dentist.
Yeah.
And my barber.
Yeah.
He seems like he has an interesting life on a farm. Or,
Yeah. Oh, now, yeah, they transitioned. Yeah, Tony Bones is up there. Yeah, yeah. But that whole that was that whole constellation of,
Yeah.
No,
Totally. It's like it was Viva La Vox, and then that splintered off into like, Everyman and Kay
Yeah,
Lastman
all
and
that,
all
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Darling Sweets.
We
and
went
then-
on tour with Kay Lastman, which is
Yeah.
one of like the funnest experiences of our lives for sure.
And
like,
everyone was there.
collectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your tour with Kay Lastman. Your tours, right? Multiple.
Yeah, I think we did a couple tours with those guys.
One main one though.
Yeah, there was like a
Right,
big
yeah.
one, and like we all stayed in the same hotel. It was like 12 of us in a hotel room, and just like wild. and
Yeah.
we invented
Ramadas.
cool
Ramada
games to
Inn.
play. Yeah, a lot of that.
Marriott
stuff, yeah.
sometimes.
a lot of Marriotts. Yeah,
Marriotts.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I very rarely get to ask, because often I'll ask if I can ask it. Well, that was hard to say. And people are like, I don't have a good story.
Meta
But apparently
question.
you do have a good story. What's something weird that happened at a gig?
The New Orleans.
Yeah, you want to set. You want
Do you want me to set the
yeah,
tone?
go for it.
All right, so we were doing a sound check, and it was I forget what was the club's name. It doesn't really matter.
No, it was
St. Rock.
yes, the St. Rock Tavern.
We'd actually
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like a bunch of people came
New
running
Orleans.
in, like running through the door, and like looking for safe places,
Yeah, safe spaces.
safe spaces.
Yeah.
We're like, what the heck's going
We
on?
thought that they had just found out that we were taking the stage.
yeah,
they
we
were
thought
like,
it was
"Oh,
our fans. Everybody
great.
get down,
Yeah,
everybody
we
get
thought,
down.
Settle down, guys.
Get down, get
One
down.
at a
But we
time.
were. I was just excited that many people rushed in.
Yeah,
It was
like
just thrilling.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
we've
and
made
if
it
you're pumped
New
to like
Orleans.
get
We
playing and all that,
played
you
half
just
of one
assume
song.
it's
Yeah,
something
like
to do.
they-
Yeah.
people of New Orleans are embracing us.
they love what's happening.
Look how
know
they
it.
run to
We're
us.
switching the lyrics to Cajun now. Let's do it.
Yeah.
These Arcadian fucks are gonna get it.
Yeah, apparently
then the
someone was
guy.
someone was out front, and he had pulled a handgun out of a bag of chicken.
Oh no!
The way I heard it was the gun was embedded in a whole
Perhaps,
chicken.
yeah. And
But
the
that's
gun
how-
was embedded
I
in a
don't
whole
think
chicken.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's how he hit it. He hit it in. there.
Even if that isn't true, it's really cool.
You know, you put
It's
it,
true
but
now.
it makes
Yeah.
it slip. It makes it slippery.
yeah.
Go
Oh,
figure.
God, yeah, of
we
course.
couldn't see any of this because we were
Yeah.
sheltering in place as one does.
Well,
in
we
a-
just didn't move. We just stood behind our instruments, and we were just waiting. Like we were like, I guess we're in a holding patter, and then. But we
we
were
were
very
also
concerned
hiding,
with
like-
if the chicken was cooked or not, though, because salmonella is like a real. That's a real thing. You could. We wanted the gunman.
That's how the
safety.
guy died.
If
We
you get
look after
nicked
the
by
gunman
one of the
safety.
bullets, yeah,
That's how
yeah,
the
yeah.
gunman died.
He died of salmonella poisoning
And
later
what
that
were
day.
you sheltering behind? I was hiding behind my keyboard with the lion head, which has no protection whatsoever, and going like this, like that's
Yeah.
going to
I
protect.
think I
Yeah.
had my podium.
Well, you had the podium.
Yeah.
But did
with
you
the
have
horseshoe?
Did you have your Wonder Woman gauntlets on though? You were gonna like.
I was wearing a lot of feminine jewelry. Yes.
Okay, there you go.
and blouses. Baubles and blouses.
Multiple blouses.
Many blouses, yeah. Even though it was summer in New
chainmail
Orleans.
blouses.
Well, we've done that before. I've done that before. Bad idea.
Chainmail.
Chainmail. Oh yeah, we've done that on more than one occasion.
Yeah, heavy.
Heavy,
Yeah.
very bad. I had to switch to iodized aluminum because it's lighter.
Oh, there you go.
But even then, bad.
you got to know your chainmails.
Well, I don't win.
Knowyourmail.com.
Medieval. Yeah. Malefemale.com.
So that kind of leads very nicely into. Tell us a little bit about your wardrobe, Frank.
the Delta Burke collection.
Who's your tailor?
Delta Burke.
So how is this all like? Have you always been into sort of wearing cool shit, or like is this a new?
Well, you know, when I moved
thing?
to Florida, one of the first things that popped in my head when I was observing what the people were, I'm like, everybody down here dresses like a goddamn slob.
Yeah, fair.
Let's get that straight. Grown men in shorts, nobody wants to see that. That's just
I
the
concur.
tip. That's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And then I'm going, okay, yeah, it's a little bit hot, but that doesn't mean you can't wear a 3-piece suit. But I'm also like animal prints.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. And then I'm going, look at these. Because what we used to do, because we, you know, at shows, we throw out stuffed animals. So remember the trips to
World
Thrift.
which is really where
yeah.
it's exploded. I had a pretty decent, what would you call that, androgynous wardrobe of velvets and velour and corduroys and so forth, but it wasn't stage worthy.
Right, gotcha.
And then we would go, we would get the stuffed animals, and then we would just be like, let's just go, you know, we're going to just peruse the woman's blouses.
Sure.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, they're giving these things away. Zebra, cheetah. And then I'm like, because men, it's solids.
Yeah.
If you're bold, you wear a paisley.
yeah.
Tweed.
Tweed.
Yeah.
And
Gingham.
and we would go there and gingham, seersucker, which we're still into that. Well, remember when we first started, remember that the corduroy kings. We were because we took a while to brainstorm the name of the band, right? And so there was a while where we were going to call ourselves the Corduroy Kings, and we were going to all dress in matching corduroy suits.
Oh wow.
That still might happen.
Yeah, it could be a side project somewhere down the line, or an album. You know.
Oh my God!
The
And
corduroy
the worst
sessions.
material you
Yeah.
could wear in Florida. Just like 3-piece corduroy suits.
I'm wearing corduroy right now.
I was wearing
there
corduroy
you
all
go.
day today.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
it'd be
good,
great
yeah.
just for a sonic,
Well, remember,
gimmick.
what'd you call
Yeah.
what'd you call it? Not a chirp. You called it chirp.
Oh,
When the corduroys rub together.
I wrote it called a chirp.
He called
Yeah.
it. Was that what you called it?
well,
the
yeah.
chirp of
Well, the whales are the
whales, but
channels
the
on
sound. I believe you called it the chirp
so
of
it
an
could be
excellent
a whale
corduroy.
chirp.
One time he did.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
was walking and he heard it. He goes, "Those corduroys have an excellent chirp."
Yeah.
I remember he said that. I was like, "Remember, we almost did it." And then, but obviously the logistics of that are insane. But the other thing about women's blouses is they breathe.
Yeah.
They're very diaphanous.
Buttons are on the other side.
But
Yeah.
the buttons are on the other side.
Yeah.
The
You
pockets
never really
are too
quite get
shallow.
used
There's a
to
bunch
that.
of things we found out about
Yeah.
women's.
It's
I've
hard
had
to
my
be a
fair
woman.
share of women's blouses.
It's the only place to get. Well, of course you have. but when we got really deep into it, to the point where, like, the animal prints in particular, it's because, you know, a men's wardrobe, you never see that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to a South Florida, particularly South Florida, you know, the Islanders love it. Animal prints,
Yeah.
women's, all over, to the point where you go, it's just.
Animal prints is apparently very in right now.
Well, I don't
is.
wear them anymore.
So you've not a single.
I
one.
went through.
Not a
I
one.
hardly ever.
I
yeah.
went through a phase, but you know, it was just a thing, and we kind of mixed that with, you know, sometimes we would dress as hobo type
Yeah,
folk.
it was really fun at the beginning.
Middle
like,
Eastern people.
We would really try to like, what do you think of this outfit? And
Yeah.
like, it's just not weird enough, you
No.
know?
Yeah.
And then he put like weird, like okay, and he
Yeah.
put like really bizarre goggles.
One time I wore his grandma's like,
Yeah.
what was that? What do you call that? Like
a
a
yentle.
yeah.
I
I
don't
think
even
that's a
know.
movie with Barbara Streisand.
It is.
Good,
Her
yeah.
memoir,
Wonderful,
subpar,
yeah.
but it just came out.
Yeah.
But
Made
was
it-
just-
made
well,
it
it's kind of
thinking.
almost like a, not a stashka. It's a Russian thing.
Fez? No.
Close. Well, that's
That's
him.
me.
Oh yeah, that's
He's
right.
been wearing a fez for years.
I had to find something to wear because I couldn't fit it. They don't make women my size.
Yeah.
We tried,
You
though.
can't, Fezes are just like ubiquitous. They're just the coolest hat, you know.
Well, the crazy thing is it's never fallen off his head,
No.
That's insane.
which I can't believe.
And I
Yeah,
used to collect them, but
Yeah.
none of them ever
Hector.
really fit.
I'm not wearing a fez.
He'd look good in a Fez, I think.
Well, I mean, you have to.
We were in Atlanta not long ago, and during our tour, and we went to. I my shoes fell apart and I needed to get a pair of sneakers or whatever, and we popped into, what was it, like a Plato's Closet or something?
Tell the story about how you
so-
didn't believe
One
it
of our
about the
sponsors.
training.
Well, so
Goodwill.
okay. For starters, he pulled out these sneakers and he goes, "What about these?" And I go, "Nah, I don't really. That's not my style. They're a little bit feminine or whatever." And then there was this girl with us, and she was another artist that was with us or whatever. And
She's easy
about
on the
15
eyes.
minutes later,
Yeah,
about
hopefully
15
good.
minutes later, we walk by the same aisle, and she goes, "What about these?" And pulls out the same sneakers. I'm like, "Great, I'll try them on."
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But there was a jacket. Remember the jacket that I tried on?
Yeah.
It was like all print and stuff. It was wild. It was crazy. And I tried it on, and both him and James were like, "You got to buy it." And I'm like, I don't know. But now I wish I would have bought
Well,
it.
here's the thing. Here's the thing about a jacket like that, or something. You don't find the jacket. The jacket finds you.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
When the
I mean,
student
well,
is
this
ready.
one, I hunted these creatures.
Well, that one
stitched their hides
popped
together
out of
because
me,
I hate the earth
and
and
it
I hate
fit
animals.
me, which was weird.
Yeah.
But that's sort of an aside.
No, I get it.
But
you
yeah,
know.
I mean, and the weird thing is you remember it.
Yeah, I should have
It's like
bought
the
it.
one that
I
got
should've-
away.
Yeah, I
kind
should
of.
have bought it.
Yeah, maybe you could still find it, or you'll find somebody walking down the street and you're like, there it is.
Exactly.
Tackle.
Yeah.
Steal it.
Well,
But, I mean,
you got to
it's-
skin the whole. You got to skin them.
You know,
With-
when you're
with the
hanging out with
coat.
someone who dresses as ostentatiously as you,
Yeah.
you definitely do feel a little plain. We got to step.
Well,
ourselves
you're
up.
We gotta
British.
step our game up.
That's true. Well,
You're
British
British.
people can be
Ah,
dandies.
well,
What
you
are
guys
talking
wear
about?
tight pants and buckled shoes, as far
Like
as
a
I'm
scarf or something, I feel like.
a cravat,
Okay.
a cravat.
yeah.
You should be wearing a cravat.
Ascot.
Yeah,
That's true.
ascot, a
Yeah.
cravat. Yes.
I have owned a cravat before.
Of course.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Of course. Of course you have.
Yeah.
You had to.
You have to get into
How
the
else would
country.
you have ever gone
Yeah.
to school without it?
Born with one.
You know,
Yeah.
like this. At school, when I was a kid, I had to wear corduroy shorts.
Oh.
Man of my own taste. God bless.
Shorts, though.
I know.
I don't think I've
We
ever
graduated onto
seen a pair
trousers.
of corduroy shorts, to tell you the truth. Shorts.
Didn't Angus from
You have
ACDC
well, of
wear
course
corduroy
you
shorts?
did. That's beautiful.
That's the fabric of my life.
It's a beautiful. Well, it means the textile of kings, corduroy. That's what it means.
Really?
Yeah, Louis XIV. Look it up.
probably,
It
you know
does.
what? It
That's
might-
why they feel
no, that's
so
what
good.
it is. Corduroy.
wow.
It's the cord. It was originally, remember Louis XIV when we were there that one time.
He could also be
Oh,
making this up.
No,
we have
you
no
could.
idea.
You could. Don't use Google. It's,
My wife always says if you say it with confidence, people will believe you.
Of
That's-
course,
that's
that's what we do. But
what
no,
he
corduroy. That's why it's called
Yeah.
that. Corduroy. Yeah, the fabric of the king.
I believe you.
Yeah,
Sounds
well,
right.
Yeah, you can doubt me all you want. It's fine.
My dad, my dad is a
also a
big
bear.
corduroy man. Always wearing a pair of corduroys. My
Yeah,
dad.
it's good
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I think so. Sort of simultaneously stylish and wholesome.
Yeah,
There's something very wholesome about
absolutely.
corduroy.
I mean, it's
And
it's
sweaty.
neither highbrow or lowbrow.
Yeah.
You could
It's
also,
like brown
I mean, you know,
bread.
doing some kind of a musical thing with it would be interesting. Like a corduroy
You could
album,
chirp,
like
make it chirp.
make
Put
it
it
chirp.
on, like, staple it to like wood
Yeah,
blocks.
different.
and do it.
Yeah,
there
different
you go.
corduroys. Different. What'd you call it again? The whale.
Oh, the whale. Yeah.
The weft and the
And
whale.
Do like
yeah.
an 8, a 10, a 12, a 16.
Yeah.
Fine whale.
And then Corduroy Kings, the album, and then it's just
It's just corduroy.
and people
ASMR
like
or
the
whatever.
art.
Yeah. Corduroy ASMR.
This year's award at Art Basel goes to
Corduroy.
Corduroy
Kings.
Corduroy Kings
The
by the
Corduroy.
Peculiar.
Corduroy.
Yeah, Corduroy.
Yeah.
Corduroy.
Corduroy.
Yeah, it's a hoagie with corduroy in it.
All right, so
Yeah.
Well, this
It's
is
like
derailed.
okay.
This is derailed.
I have a list of talking points here, and I think we need to
Get
get
rid
through.
of those.
The first one is zoology.
Oh.
It was a working title for some. Well, what do you want to say about that?
Zoology?
Yeah, in general.
Well, I mean, most of our band practices revolve around the study of animals.
Okay.
So we actually never practice before we actually go on stage. We just talk about wildlife.
Creatures.
Yeah, wildlife.
Creatures of the earth.
Nice.
Yeah. hmm
Yeah. Attenborough's
Microscopic
children.
times often.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plankton. Dinoplankton.
Water bears.
Water bears.
That's a really good
That's
one.
actually a good name for an album also.
Water
bears,
yeah.
They're
That's
crazy.
a deep
Write that
animal
down.
cut.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going in the notebook. Water bears. One
All right.
word? Is it one word?
The next one
Has
is
to be.
the constellation.
Orion.
Of Orion, that's right,
Yeah,
yeah, yes.
well, big
I
into
forgot that bit.
constellations.
Okay. How come Orion in particular?
well, the
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, the
star.
Big Dip, the Big and Small Dipper.
It's a
Yeah,
belt,
true.
Yeah.
clothing,
Yeah.
The belt.
fashion.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful belt.
We've been over Germany, so we can skip over that one.
We'll come back to that later.
These
Yeah,
are all
sure.
topics we wrote drunk in the bar. earlier.
I'm loving it. What about
Should have said Deutschland.
plate tectonics? That's
We don't believe
Very
in it.
important.
that's a shaky
The world
subject.
is flat.
We believe the continents are as they always have been. The Earth's core is
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah,
and we're waiting for evidence to the contrary. That's
No,
all we
fair
Is it
enough.
flat?
certainly.
It's hollow.
Yeah.
Kava.
And the moon is hollow also.
Hollow Moon.
Full of cheese.
We actually have a side.
Well, it's made
project
of
called
cheese,
the
but it's hollow.
Moon. Yeah.
We're an inversionist.
Hollow
deconstru-
cheese.
Yeah, hollow cheese, like a big burrata. And somebody sucked all
Oh,
the
that
good
sounds
shit
so
out of the
good.
middle.
I would eat that moon. So, all right, the Pietà.
Oh, yeah, the Pietà.
For the uninitiated, it's a sculpture by Michelangelo.
Yeah.
A
Probably the most
sculpture.
beautiful work of art in history.
He forgot the arms, though.
It is beautiful. I
Actually,
wouldn't go
me
that
and Fran
far,
are
though.
probably the only two people to ever see the Sistine Chapel 2 times in a row within probably, 15 minutes?
Yes, and on that we also touched the Pietà, which you're not supposed to do.
You're not supposed
You
to get up
touched
there.
it.
Yeah.
Touched it.
Yeah.
Not on the tit where Michelangelo signed it.
Right on the point where
First
they
time
touch-
anybody signed a statue.
Right on the tip.
Right on the tit, the Virgin Mary, my mother.
Good lad.
My blessed mother. And we touched it. No alarms went off, which was wild.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then we're like, all right, let's go see the Sistine Chapel. And we went and
You saw it twice in the same
yeah.
day.
Within 15
yeah,
minutes.
we
Good
were,
lord.
They don't
we got
want you to
lost
do
in the
that.
back.
Isn't
we were
there usually like an insanely long line for that?
huge,
Insanely,
huge.
yeah.
We
We
got right
found
to
the
the
back
front.
door.
The Swiss guard was like, they escorted us to where we needed to go. I mean, we had
Cool.
no credentials whatsoever.
Not the Swiss
we were,
chard. The
We were
Swiss guard.
Catholic as well. We're like, we're Catholic. We're Catholic.
Yeah.
Right this way, sir.
Right.
Right this
Yeah,
way,
I've
sir.
never been to Rome.
Oh,
I've been all
it's
over
a
Italy
dump.
and I've never been to Rome.
It's a
Boring.
dump. Remember? Oh, it's a dump.
I'm very jealous.
Well, when we were there, there was we were going to the. Remember that with the Coliseum with the little hobo.
Yeah, the hay hobo.
I'm like,
The
yeah,
hay hobo.
we showed up really, half hobo.
Okay.
You know, like a halfpenny bridge. You know what I'm talking about. The slimy part. So the halfpenny. But we're at the Coliseum, and I'm like, I told you it was
It's boring.
disappointingly small.
Very small.
And as I'm saying that, a little, and I will use the word midget, although for my dwarvish friends, I'll hedge it.
They're going to get some serious...
That's fine. Call Billy Barty. or my other godfather, Warwick Davis. But a little midget runs across the road, and I go, disheveled.
Yeah. We turned our back on the Coliseum to look at
and he
midget.
I
ran
see
up.
the hay hobo.
Yeah,
Hay
he was a hay hobo.
Yeah, you
because
see
he was
him
like
now,
this
yeah.
homeless little dwarvish fella. Gnome, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Gnomish.
Gnomish, dwarvish. Could have been a goblin, but he didn't. He was swarthy. You know. And then he goes up this berm and disappears into, I believe it was an aqueduct, a Roman aqueduct of some kind.
That's
and then
amazing.
We waited
We
there
waited
for
a
half
long
an
time.
hour
He never came
to
out.
see him emerge.
Wow. And
We
you're
assumed-
definitely sure he existed.
Absolutely. We were sober as
Well,
Tiberius.
Well,
That's relative.
We were.
it was
And
early
then
morning.
we were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not later in the day, but then we were.
Oh, that's it. All right. Well, so the little fella's living in living
He's
in the
living in
Colosseum.
Rome. He's living in that.
Little sprites and
Or he's
brownies.
running. Maybe he was a gladiator who, he was a little fella. It's hard to win a match.
He's the
as a-
inspiration for our newest album.
Yeah.
Let's put it that
Hey,
way.
hobo.
Hey, hobo. Yeah. Hey, hobo.
All right, we have one. We'll get onto the new album, but we have the on here after the PSL. We have Goblins and Such, which we're kind of already in.
Yes,
So let's
yes,
explore
yeah.
that.
Roddy.
Go ahead, Rod.
I mean, I don't know. What do you have to say? I mean, we've got a rich folklorist heritage here.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books is by a guy called Spike Milligan, and it's called Goblins, and it's the best.
Yes,
Author,
I know it.
You know?
Yeah,
okay,
it's
cool.
it's excellent.
Yeah,
Big fans of fantasy movies from the 80s and that whole realm.
Yeah.
And I think we'd always kind of bandied about the idea of inserting more lore.
Yeah, I
Into
noticed there was some
the
labyrinth references.
Yeah.
in
Many.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
actually quote some lines from some labyrinth. Brian Froud, an oboist, by the way.
Oh, of course.
He's a huge oboist. But anyway, he was the conceptual designer for Jim Henson for what I believe our collective
Gelfling, that's Dark Crystal.
Gelflings,
Isn't
Dark
it?
Crystal. What do you mean
Yeah.
the greatest film ever made?
Documentary.
My favorite documentary as well. And my second favorite documentary is Labyrinth. And,
You know the bit
he
where
did all that for both.
You know the bit where they like go out of reality into that weird dumping ground place?
That's
that
the best. Oh, my
Dude,
God. You mean my
is
house?
as close to I came to tripping I'd never been so spun out by something.
Tatty.
Yeah.
Here's your
That
tatty.
just got me. When I was a kid, I
it freaks
felt like
the
I'd
fuck
gone
out of
insane.
you. Oh, my God. Well, yeah, because you did.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
probably still in there.
Yeah, totally.
I know I am. You come in my, you're like, here's your put your lipstick on, make yourself up nice. You know,
Such a
it's-
successful scene. It's
well,
unbelievable.
it's brilliant. That scene is wild,
Yeah. No,
and they're
it's
just
super
like
trippy.
you know creeping around it, midden heaps, rag and bone man. You know, oh
Yeah,
my
I love
God,
it.
wild.
So this is all. We're kind of getting on to talking about this new album then. So tell us about the new album. What do you got to say? on it?
It was originally going to be 2 EPs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started writing songs, and some ended up being kind of heavier. We were interested in exploring some like almost like metal elements, and so we kind of were doing some songs like that. But then we were also doing some more classic zoo type stuff, and
Purposely throwing our audience off.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So then we were going to do 2 EPs, and we ended up just slapping it together and then doing some like little fantasy interludes in between.
Yeah. Cool.
It surprisingly worked though, because like it was originally because we often not often I think pretty much every album up until here has been a concept album.
Yeah.
First album was, you know, a couple clowns in the 1930s
Definitely
jumping a train, and they're like, we're going to
Bindles.
California to pick peaches. But
Bindles,
then the
Bindles.
Dust Bowl happened, and John Steinbeck showed up, and then everybody was like, Emmett Kelly, and then Barnum and Bailey were like, come on with us. And that's that
That's
album.
when the
Hands.
second album.
Then the
started.
second album was it was Freak Show album.
Yeah.
It was a sideshow album where each of the tracks was corresponding to it was a 10 in 1.
Yeah. Okay.
So like the structure of a classical sideshow where you had 10 acts and a blow off.
Right.
The 11th act. And so we did it like that, you know, bearded lady, wolf boy, human skeleton, human cannibal, whatever, fortune teller. And we did it like that. So it was a concept album. And then the one after that, Limousine Time Machine,
Yeah.
which was so we tore in a limousine. A 19 or did. I still own it. It is dilapidated, decaying, and I love it. There may or may not be creatures living in it. I don't know. I don't really
There
know.
is.
There's something. There could be hobos
There's a
living
couple
in it.
generations
Yeah.
of
There's
raccoons.
generations of probably people living in there at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if I
hobos.
go out there and like somebody like giving birth to a little hobo baby.
Little oboe baby.
Obo hobo, obo hobo, obo hobo, obo hobo,
Write that
water
down.
bears, obo hobo.
Yeah, right underwater.
So
bears,
yeah,
perfect.
obo
The
hobo.
afterbirth is a bindle.
Ooh,
Yeah.
placenta bindle. I love that.
This is a useful notebook you have.
It's the
here.
best.
Yeah.
I always keep a little chub just in case, you know.
Yeah.
But
That's the name of the notebook.
yeah. No, well, that too. I'm always half mass as well. But so
the name
we're
of
like,
many
well,
things.
we were touring around. We came up with this joke where we claimed it was a time machine.
Right.
You know, we drink a lot of wine.
Sure.
So
Classy.
the concept for that album was every track would be a different decade in the 20th century. So we do, you know, some 20s stuff, and then we kind of, you know, some 60s surf rock
Right. Yeah.
kind of stuff. and
Yeah,
then
we have
what-
like 80s kind of synthy
Disco.
stuff. and-
yeah, disco,
80s,
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Soviet. What would you call that? Polish Soviet realism.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
What do you do for the 90s?
which one was the 90s? I'm trying to think.
I think that might have been
Chocolate Vegas was the 80s.
That was
Yeah,
the 80s.
I think it was
yeah.
the
Elder Star.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
it. That's the one.
Which is a psychotic breakdown that's sort of kind of like a reflection on the way that the 1990s was so promising and then
Yeah.
just deconstructed itself.
It's an ode to Bill Clinton.
An ode to Bill Clinton.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's about Pepsi Clear.
Yeah, that's right. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Yep. That's the cool part about what we like. We don't just like jam. we're like,
Well.
we can jam, but like we're like, let's write an album that mixes, Spain with maybe Japan and see what happens. And like we try to really like
writing to a concept.
Yeah.
Well, constraints are very creative, I find.
Yeah.
If you got like a box, you start to look at ways out of it. Like
But we need. Look what happens when we
I'm sure
have them.
Just by spending this little bit of time with us, you can tell that we need to be reined in sometimes.
Is that a butterfly?
No, it's super awesome, and just a very creative thing to do. It shows a little bit of foresight and just like creative vision. I think it's great. I love it when people have concept albums. Made a couple myself over the years.
Yeah.
And it's it's a great way to do it. I think right now the only concept behind the latest Killbillies album is every tune's got to be good.
Well,
tough to do.
It's a bangers album. Every tune
Yeah,
has
we
to
do like
every
the
tune has
Katy
to be
Perry
like,
principle.
Yeah.
The Prism principle.
We're trying to do like
remember
like sort of like every tune's fast and like kind of hitting and kind of like good riff in it.
Yeah.
That's really all
good
The
going.
Euphoria album is a concept album. That'll hopefully be done
What's
soon.
the concept? Well, you don't have to spill the beans. but-
Justin's gonna have to tell him.
Yeah,
Do you
it's,
know?
Yeah, I know. It's so it's
Time
it's
travel?
No, it's a story. It's a
Goblins?
story. It's a love story, but it's he's psychotic, I guess. And
Yes,
he
perfect.
he has
Good.
Listening.
bad upbringing and bad parents, and there's a lot of Christian stuff in there. and-
Evangelicals?
Yeah,
Oh, the
you'll
worst.
you'll like it.
We're Catholic. We
Yeah,
don't,
I think you
buy
guys
that
will like
bullshit.
it. Yeah.
My dad went to Catholic school. He hated it too.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
I've heard
anybody
stories of
I
nuns.
teach at one,
Oh, okay.
but don't tell them that.
You did teach it.
Yeah, I used to before I came
Before
on
this
here.
aired.
Before this aired,
Did you guys go to Catholic school down here in Florida?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm from Boynton Beach.
Boca Raton, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Pope John Paul II
Oh,
High
yeah.
School.
I went to
Every
Cardinal Newman.
Did you?
Oh,
Our arch rival, you
rivals,
son of a
rivals.
bitch.
Get out of here.
That's it. I excommunicate ye.
Interview's over.
That's it. Ah, Monsignor.
Now we grapple.
That's it. Roddy, get out the grease.
Finally, our podcast will go viral. We'll have a big fight.
Slap it. But obviously, not even Greco-Roman. It's straight up Roman Catholic wrestling.
Catholic wrestling. Right downtown. Next
We've
album.
got all the titles for
Got
our
like
new
4 albums
album.
coming out.
That is a good one.
Roman Catholic wrestling. It's
is hilarious.
happening.
Roman Catholic
And you know what?
wrestling.
The Pietà.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what's going on in that.
I think we should listen to some of the music that you've written and then come back and talk about it. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, all right.
You're such a spectacle, the heart of darkness. Come and see my monster, my princess. I'm just a liberty, unliberated. Set me loose to see what I've created.
We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Kava Bar is in Sea Grape Square on Indiantown Road, and it is a kava bar. If you don't know anything about kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, you know, that brings people together. You all take a shell of kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Kava Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. Thanks. All right, so we're back. We've been listening to some Zoo Peculiar there. Fellas, before we get into talking about the song, could you tell us, give us a little bit of advice about wow, I can't speak. Could you give us a little bit of advice for upcoming musicians?
Quit.
Damn.
Never give up.
Mixed messaging.
Rod?
Get used to carrying heavy things.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a base.
That's fair.
I would also say go to college forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can feel that.
Just forever.
Yeah.
You can never have too many bachelor's degrees. Let's just get that straight. But also, I think the main thing I would say is deviate.
Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because everybody's doing that's part of the reason why we started the project is we would go to shows and be like, everybody's doing the same shit.
This is boring.
It's boring.
Yeah.
We'd listen to 2 songs, we're like, okay. And we would, entertain ourselves in other ways. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
We're chemists. And, but that's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not necessarily experimentation either, because obviously experimentation can only get you so far. A lot of that stuff sucks. But you got to at least try.
Yeah.
And, especially with what we were talking about before, with sort of like scenes and this whole like aura of like, okay, I'm in a metal band, I can only play it, and you're restricted in that sense. And we're not. I don't think. Well, we have genres that we all like metal. I think.
Well, we all listen to
I
different
love
things.
metal.
We all listen to like a lot of different things, which is cool.
Love Vivaldi.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
we don't have to ever be like, all right, he's doing this and he's doing this and I'm doing this, because like I can do what I like, he can do what he likes, and he can do what he likes, and it all kind of works out in the end, which is cool.
Yeah.
And it worked. Like our songs flow together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just do
That's
it,
cool.
isn't it? And do what you feel is true to you. Just get out there and do it, or just create for the sake of create.
Well, that's art.
Art for art's sake.
Art per l'arte.
Yeah.
L'art per l'art. Huh? Art for art's sake. See?
See? Tutti.
Grazie.
Nice one.
Arte dell'arte.
So yeah, could you tell us a little bit about what the song we just listened to is about? So it's the titular track from your new album.
Did that feel good to say
Nachtmusik.
that?
It did feel good, didn't it? It rolled off the tongue.
Tit.
It's the titular track.
Titular.
Titular.
Eponymous.
Eponymous.
Oh, there we go.
Eponymous. Epigraphic.
Check out the bass player with the big
Eponymous.
words. That's awesome.
Posthumous. Posthumous. Eponymous.
So what's the deal with
Well,
Nachtmusik then? Tell us. It's not Eine Kleiner.
It used to be. So,
Then it got gross.
grossa.
Grossa
Well, the original idea was, and I wish we had that photograph. Well, both of those
Oh, I
photographs.
have it.
On the German underground circuit, there's some photographs that were circulated around of
Very
me,
Rubenesque
very Rubenesque
Okay.
version
you know,
of Frank on a bed in a hotel.
the 4th of July, I believe it was.
Little
Milk
cherub.
white. I hadn't been outside
Why do I
for
feel like I've seen this?
probably.
picture?
It may have been circulated. You've seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
My delicates are shaded just so, but I have the gams of my mother and
Hairless.
hairless as
I
a
have
seal.
seen it. I've seen it.
No, and
He's
I'm
like,
in
"I
such a
remember
way
that."
where it's kind of like Lady Godiva or something like that. And
Definitely lady.
of
I would
course,
say, yeah,
this is
yeah.
the most feminine photograph. Well, not the most feminine, but I mean, I had nothing. I was denuded.
Yeah.
Stark.
I was stark.
Yeah.
Stark.
Very honest.
Yeah.
Nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
There you go.
Al fresco. And Rod goes to me. He's like, we were just discussing. The photo came up, and we were talking. We weren't talking about Beethoven. We were talking about because Rod's a what would you
once.
call that? A Teutonophile.
Okay.
A
Likes
lover
the
of German.
Germans.
I mean, his German is impeccable. It's like a young Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, or even Kafka, late Kafka. And he goes, we were toying with the idea of writing some songs in German. And
Nice.
then that picture was swirling around in sort of the ether, and Rod goes, well, he made a pseudo cover to an
Yeah, I did
album
a
called
mock-up of
that
Nachtmusik.
and called Nachtmusik. And I go, well, we have to do this.
And I
now.
threatened them. I said, if you don't call the next album Nachtmusik,
Yeah. I'm going to show everybody this picture of you, Rubenesque, nude as a baby seal. You look like your mother
well, we
naked.
compromised. We called the album Nachtmusik, but we didn't use the pictures.
No,
Hey.
well, I had to do that for professional reasons, but in my heart of hearts, I would have.
Yeah.
Sure.
But for legal reasons, the Vatican.
Yeah,
I
exactly. You
couldn't.
gotta watch out
I
for those
couldn't. I
It
couldn't.
would always be the
They cast a
20th,
big
20th
shadow.
anniversary.
I could have said it was not.
alternate
Criterion.
cover.
Yeah, I could have said it wasn't me. It was my sister. I mean, it looked like maybe a postpartum.
It's like when you shave a cat.
Yes.
Almost.
Well, or like a Shar-Pei. There was
when
more.
they shave the sheep and then
Yeah.
they like
yeah,
throw 'em
yeah,
out
very
there
much
and-
like that.
Yeah.
It
What
was-
animal
there
is
was
this?
definitely
Yeah.
some, not an otter exactly, but some sort
Very
of
similar.
definitely sinuous in
Porpoise.
the water.
Some sort of
yeah.
water
Porpoise.
mammal.
baby seal.
Definitely
Yeah.
water mammal.
Yeah.
Definitely water mammal.
Hippopotamus.
No, not that bad. No.
Well, no. He was younger.
I was
Maybe
younger
like a
then.
taper.
Okay.
Like
taper.
a small
A
taper.
taper.
Yeah, just
Okay.
the body. though.
Tapeworm.
Well, no, that was inside of it. The tapeworm was there, but it was
sure.
invisible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where the name came from, and then the song.
Yeah, we work backwards.
It's it
But
kind
it
of had
is
like
Ge-
a
it's
German
German.
feel to it, like new wave, dark wave kind
Yes, it's a great name.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something sort of like just sort of badass. It's like night, it sort of has this innate dark quality to it. It's night music, but then it's also, it's a little arty, it's a little interesting. I think it's a cool name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it could be anything. It could be something like super dark and heavy. It could be. It has a lot of scope. The name Nacht Music.
Yeah, because the original idea was for the grungy part to be that.
The heavier.
And it has that where we're like, okay, this is very versatile and whatever, and
Yeah, like dumb people just think we can't spell.
I think they think it's the album's not music.
Not music, which it is.
Yeah.
It's also that.
Which it is.
What's
dumb
day
ass.
music in German? Is it Tag music?
That's our next
Tagmusik.
album. Yeah.
Tagmusik.
Tag music.
Yeah, that could
Which
be
is
the other half.
which is terrible.
Morgenmusik.
Morgenmusik,
Morgenmusik, of course,
Morgenmusik
of
für
course.
alles.
Es hört mir sehr gut.
Ja.
So, do you really speak German well?
Ein bisschen.
Okay.
Ich habe Deutsch gelernt in
Entschuldigung.
Schule.
Ja, Entschuldigung, ja, darf ich bitte meine Bleistift spitzen?
Okay, that's awesome. You really do. I love it. I've been to Germany
Sorry
a
for
couple
your
of...
loss in the war, by the way.
I know, yeah, I don't know what happened.
we didn't mean it.
It's all
I'm not
right.
even part of that
You
regime,
tried,
but
you know.
we're from Pittsburgh.
You would hope. I mean, you would hope you're not part of it.
Well, who knows? They're amongst us.
Yeah, for real.
The reptilians.
All right. So
Yeah.
we've got some gear. Why don't we take a look at your amp, Rod? Let's take a
Oh,
look at that.
cool. Ah, yes. That
Ooh,
is
look at it.
The Dark Glass 900.
Right.
Definitely has a certain sort of German engineering sort of like
Yeah, very stark.
vibe to it.
very, very
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was looking for.
Post-Soviet.
I
It's,
enjoy the knobs.
It's like
to
an
be honest.
aluminum casing, and it's got that company's known for their distortion pedals and whatnot. So they have a built-in distortion channel.
Yeah, cool. I've got
So-
Dark Glass plug-in.
Yeah,
It's awesome, and it looks just like that.
and you can sculpt the mids. Actually, I
Nice.
think mine has like another set of knobs on it, so that may not be the exact one, but
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah.
Does the job.
yeah, it's loud.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. Have you did you specifically get it because it's sort of better or worse than other ones, or did you how did it happen?
I like the fact that it had the microtubes, which give it like a modeling kind of sound.
I don't really
And
know
the-
anything about microtubes. They're small tubes.
It's a power section. It's not the sound part, but it's powered
Yeah.
by little
Frank knows a
small
lot about that.
tubes.
Okay.
So it does kind of have tubes, but it's not really tubes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, and then you got a big, awesome, giant 2x12 Ampeg cabinet.
yeah, I like the 212s instead of 410s or 15s because you can get a little low end and high end in it. It's a happy medium.
Right.
And I feel like I can hear it well on stage usually.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth between using because you can actually set the listeners and viewers can't see it, but you guys can see my rig's just right there, so it's sitting right there.
Yeah.
And so I've just got this big giant old school rig still, and I've been toying around with going the digital route. But
Oh God.
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, good. Don't do it.
Well, I mean, Matt,
Big, those are-
Matt
this
would
is
never.
wonderful.
I know it's a classic.
It's
There's
wonderful.
nobody
I
down the
use
middle,
I
though.
use a little Fender I use a bass amp for my keyboard.
Right.
It's like a
A
70.
bassman.
Yeah.
It's a Fender Bassman.
That makes
yeah,
sense,
yeah,
though.
like Rocky's one.
Yeah. No, I got it from
it's
Paul from K.
It's a
Lastema.
combo.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And that thing, it pumps and it's great, but it can manage the highs and all of that. Because for a while I was running through. Well, the one that you use in the studio is like twice as big as that, right? The double height one. The one that I,
The 810.
is
like
that
a
what
fri-
it is?
one of those
I got-
fridges.
I don't know. It was
I don't
given
have
to me
that
by
anymore.
the one that I have. in there.
Oh, that's a.
It's like
610.
a big old bitch.
Yeah, that's a 610.
I don't know.
So
It was
I don't
given to me
really.
as part of-
I'm
yeah.
like showing my ignorance here. When it comes to like a bigger speaker like that, obviously it can handle more bass, but does it also have like is it just the more bass that's good about it, or does it have like crisp highs as well?
Well, it pushes more air the
Right.
bigger the speaker.
Yeah.
So, smaller ones are gonna. Smaller speakers are gonna not have as much push to them. So
Okay. Gotcha.
But-
no, yeah. So live, it's not you'll feel the damn thing.
Yeah, like a 15's really you're gonna feel it more.
I think overall, though, I mean, with the bigger speaker, you can definitely push more of the mids and highs with it but you can't do the opposite with the smaller speaker.
Right.
You can't get the lows that you want to get
Yeah.
with the smaller speaker. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So it just
do you- what
depends
do
on
you
what kind of
use?
style.
I don't use anything. I
just
go
right-
because
you DI right
because
in?
it's the upright. Yeah, just DI right
yeah,
in.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, when I play with Euphorbia, I use a Mark bass head.
Okay.
And it was similar to that with the knobs and stuff, except it's got 2 channels. And I have the I play a Rickenbacker with the double outs on it. So
So you
I
can stereo.
can actually go in stereo and change the channels a little bit
Do
slightly.
you do that?
Oh, that's
sometimes?
cool.
Every
Rickenbacker
once in a while.
console.
I don't do it that often. It's I don't know. It's a little beyond my capabilities of understanding, but it's doable. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing that a lot. Like the way Killbillies is now is none of us have amps. We just go into the RPA, which is fine when it's wonderful when we're doing our own sound. But if we don't have someone who's capable on sound, then we literally make no sound. You know what I mean?
Well, you
Where
guys do
it's-
like circuits where some of the places I've seen you guys, you just kind of go in like places where I'm like, do they have?
yeah, we just
I
right.
I always find that fascinating.
yeah.
It's like, how are we gonna do this?
Yeah, you got to bring your stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we got really good at it. James has got us dialed
Yeah,
in, man.
yeah.
James he's really good with all that.
Well, it's just a pain in the ass too when I was bringing this ginormous stand-up bass or cello, as a lot of people like to call it.
Cellissimo. A Cellissimo.
Yeah, the Cellissimo.
Cellissimo.
But
It's a large
but then I was
delicious.
also bringing the amp head and the cabinet and what it just became cumbersome. It just became
Well, tonality wise, you really don't.
Oh yeah.
Are the cops?
Sorry,
There's a-
now we have to break for a second.
There's a coup. There's a coup.
The cops are here.
The cops are here. They found out where I was. They saw my Mini Cooper.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we'll cut it there, Justin.
Sorry.
We got to talk
be
about the bass
careful.
still.
Yeah, because if we go too long, then it's just that picture for really long.
Oh, yeah,
Then
good
get off
point.
track.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you could splice it with.
Put pictures of us from high
Nudes.
school.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll swap
Our
to
nudes.
The,
Yeah.
to the bass and itself, and then I'll swap
Our
the picture
nudes.
of that.
Our nudes.
Yeah.
Or you could just forget the bass
Did you
and
guys
just.
get the nudes we sent you? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the picture. It's the picture from the original album.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah.
For sure.
Teat.
All right, yeah, cool. So anyway, it's a dope cabinet, and I have to say I'm having a lot of fun with you guys. This is
This
fantastic.
is the best.
Yeah.
It's the 4th best interview I've ever been a part of.
And you've had 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Charlie
right.
Rose.
Let's hear about this bass guitar then. It's a classic.
Nothing really special. It's just like a Mexican P bass deluxe. but
Yeah.
I really like the neck on it.
Mexican.
Yeah,
And
man.
I like maple necks.
Yeah, me too. I have a Mexican Telly Deluxe, and it has a maple neck. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah,
I don't think I can really tell the difference, but
Feels nice.
sonically it feels nice. Yeah, I like the smooth.
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah, me too.
I sweat a lot, so it's nice to have the slippery,
Yeah,
greasy
he
neck.
is a sweaty. He's a sweaty.
Now you're
The question we ask every single person who comes on this podcast this question, and you guys should be no different. Do you practice when you're at home, like old school practice?
All the time.
Yeah,
I play the piano every day.
nice. And do you have any kind
I
of
have a
regimen
piano
with
in
it, or you just
almost
play
every
piano?
single room in my houses.
That's so cool. Nice one.
There's multiple.
I have a piano at home. I play all the time.
I mean, and they're all out of tune
Yeah.
and different tunes.
In a charming way or like in an awful way?
The most. Well, there's dead keys and
Right.
this and that. And I actually had a classical pianist in my house last night. She's phenomenal. Probably
Yeah.
the best pianist I've ever. Best pianist that's ever played my piano.
Right, yeah, yeah.
You're saying pianist?
I'm saying multiple things. I'm working on multiple levels, and she did also touch my piano. But that's besides the point. But she was playing Franz Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody on all 4 of the pianos that are in there, and they're all in different.
that must have been
Oh,
nice.
there's dead keys, and I'm like, just do it. I want to see what this, and it was magnificent.
Yeah.
But I sit down. I mean, you have to. It has to be readily available.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I like the piano, where you just sit down. You don't have to fucking set anything up, turn
Yeah.
anything on. You just sit down. You're like, okay, and you do it. Mm-hmm. But
Do you like run any like drills or sort of exercises, or is it more of a creating kind of thing?
no, not particularly. I mean, there was a period where I was doing a little bit of that, depending on, like, if we were working on something that was in certain, like, more of a jazz polychromatic type of thing. I would do a little bit more of that. When we did one of our masterpieces, El Hamon.
El Hamon.
I was doing a lot of Latin, like El Bolero type derivatives of like flamenco and stuff to try to work with those key changes and stuff like that. But no, drilling, I'll sit down. I'm like, okay, let's see what for me, for the piano, I think it comes mostly from the hands.
Yeah.
They think independently of the brain.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
As opposed to
As opposed to your brain.
You just let him
your
go.
feet.
Yeah, or well,
Yeah.
if a feet piano, which I got one, doesn't
Sure.
work.
I've got a thing that goes around
I saw
around
it
my
really big.
toilet where you
You
can
big.
play. You can
No,
play.
no, that's
oh,
my
you
drill.
have one of those?
Yeah, that we have like I can't remember what it's called. Something like a poo piano or something like that. But you play it with your feet. Yeah. When you sing.
Yeah, like big.
A
Yeah.
piano.
Yeah, something like
Those
that.
those
It's called
are
something
actually that's how we.
My Uncle
that-
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, our Uncle Tom Hanks. That's
Big.
how we.
I
That's
also
how
have
we
a-
practice.
I also have a P bone. I have a plastic trombone.
I
Oh,
gave so
yes,
you know
one of
Andres.
those.
Yeah.
Well, I gave it to Andres Valencia.
yeah,
I
that's
gave
right.
him
I've seen
that-
it. Yeah,
I gave it that to him. I
He came
used,
around my house and we played P bones
Oh,
together.
yeah, I gave that to him because we used that on a couple overdubs on must have been the Time Machine album. It was just a couple, and
Right, yeah.
I was like,
They sound better than they have any right
They're
to.
great.
Yeah.
And I mean, even their like weird clarinets and stuff. The trumpet is actually that they make is pretty good. It's odd.
Yeah.
They have
But-
an oboe?
They do not. Impossible.
The pobo?
The pobo. We're gonna make that. It's made of the most carcinogenic resin. As soon as you
hobos,
use the
pobo.
double reed, you have lip cancer. Done.
Harvested from the stomach of sea turtles.
Yeah, and then you make the most beautiful swan song composition ever, and then you die of a massive metastasis, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it. But it's beautiful. It's a swan song.
Art.
Basil.
I like a plastic sax. They sound cool.
Yeah, no, those
Remember
are-
those old school ones? That's that weird kind of baked like plastic.
Yeah,
though? It's not. Yeah,
It didn't work the same. But whatever they're making, I don't know precisely. It's like a P. Well, I'm assuming it's a PR sub plastic, but for the P bones, the resonance is good.
Yeah.
It really is.
No,
I mean, you know better than I, but they
No,
do
you're right.
sound pretty good.
Yeah, totally. No.
And it's
no doubt.
basically made out of like melted down ginger ale bottles.
That is-
Kind of.
Fanta.
Yeah, the plastic
Fanta.
saxes. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I
well,
really
it is
want one.
orange.
Yeah.
Fanta.
So what about you, man? You still are you practicing like on the drums these days?
No. Honestly, no. Like I rely on Fran because we've been playing together for so long. Like I don't need to. Like I know exactly when he's like, "Here's what I'm doing."
Yeah.
I just can do it just instantly,
Nice.
and so I do not practice.
You
Like,
just rely on the moxie and lust.
Well, we were also we were married once briefly in the Bahamas.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was
There's a
null.
documentary about
Yeah.
it. It's on
Yeah.
it's on YouTube.
It is on YouTube.
Nassau
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Nassau Nightmare.
Yeah, it's a
Plug.
masterpiece. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Wow,
But yeah,
okay.
no, there's no need. I mean, like, for what I'm doing, like in this band, like, less is always more.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I let Fran shine.
Yeah,
and that's it. Or Frank. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I can't believe you revealed my true
I
identity.
believe
You
it.
dead named
Cut.
it.
You son of a bitch.
Cut.
You cocksucker. I can't fucking believe
Yeah.
it. Roddy, how dare you let
Yeah.
him do it?
No,
I
less
can't
is
believe
more.
it.
I can like when
And it's all, and you're really letting Rowdy shine. How dare you?
he's a bass player. He can never shine.
He
That's
he
it.
shines to me.
Yeah, shines.
He shines.
Like the
But
shining.
well, the other thing, if I may interject,
Oh, yeah.
because of the tempo changes. We were talking about this the other day.
yeah.
We've been to a million concerts together of other bands, whatever, observing it, and I'm going, dude, nobody is changing tempos.
Yeah.
I feel that.
We
do it.
change tempos all
Yeah.
the fucking
We're trying to
time.
lose the people.
Extremely. We're like, hey, look at this. Look at me. Not for that purpose, but just to kind of like,
It's part of your arsenal of stuff you can do.
art, Basil.
Yeah.
And, but the thing about it is like, not just pop, but, most forms.
And anybody
Yeah.
can do it.
Forced mathematical changes.
Well,
is
especially
what we
his
like to
drummer,
do.
and that was one of the things where he said early on, where he's like, I love playing with this act, is that this is the only act, because he also drummed with many other bands, and even when we were on tour, he was the drummer for the other bands that we were touring with.
Right on.
And he goes, we're the only bands, he's like, I'm not uninterested in what's happening
Yeah.
because we changed tempos.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun when we do the zoo. Like other bands, I could like check my text
You
messages
just-
while playing, but the zoo keeps you on your toes because
yeah.
we try to really.
Not
fuck
for
with the
long, though.
audience.
Now we're going straight beat.
Pop.
Pop.
Yeah, Billy Joel.
One
Short
twenty,
attention-
just
Billy
one
Joel
24/4.
Short attention span
4/4,
music.
that's it. Common time. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done with the waltzes. We're done with the rest of this bullshit.
Are you practicing at home, Rod? Do you do any practice? these days?
A little bit. But like I said, I also try to still play guitar and
Yeah.
keyboards, and I've
You
been
just keep
messing
up
around
on
with
it a little.
synths and DJing and things like that. So I think that that's helpful to keep other other disciplines going.
Sure. What kind of DJing are you doing? Is it the kind of DJing that requires practice? Are you like using decks and stuff like record decks?
I like to do vinyl DJing.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
just
Real
turntables
DJ.
and a mixer, and just focus on beat matching and
I did a
transitions and
ton
stuff.
of that when I was between the ages of like 18 and like 25. And
I did too, but then my mom told me to stop because it was getting too ridiculous in the house. So
Are you serious? That's awesome.
Well, that's what happens.
I was DJing to like
should
my
have
sister
stood
and
your
the dog.
ground.
You know,
Yeah, but that's all right.
I was like 8. You know, it's fine.
Oh, well, that's even better. Yeah. Oh, it's like one of those play school.
yeah.
It was a Mickey Mouse turntable.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it didn't even scratch. I just had to go.
You gotta make the noise.
I gave probably 100 amazing records to my sister's ex-boyfriend, who I, for some reason, didn't occur to me they might split up, and they split up like a week later. So I lost so many of my great records. That's when I came to the US because I couldn't take them
That's
with me.
why you came.
That's it.
Yeah, that's why I came.
That's
I was
like
done.
You were done.
Yeah.
All the
The
records.
memories are too painful.
Kurt
Like
and
the Cromwell
Courtney's
Revolution.
Kurt and Courtney's daughter, Frances Bean. She gave her dad's acoustic guitar that he played on the MTV acoustic show to her boyfriend, fiance, or whatever, and then they split up and he wouldn't give it back.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I wouldn't
Smart
either.
man.
And
I
she's
would
married
now. He's
now.
the
Yeah.
mayor of Spokane.
Yeah.
Now she's married
She's
to
married.
Tony Hawk's.
I saw that Tony Hawk's son. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, all right.
Good for him.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe he's
royal wedding.
he's the son of a sportsman. He might be able to get it back. Maybe he's got some moxie.
Hit him with a skateboard.
Yeah. Do the old, the old 1-2. Brute force.
All right. So why don't we figure out what's going on in your lives from this point onwards?
Oh,
like
the
have you got
therapy part of the
shows?
show. Yeah, good. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
Tell us about
How
your
much time
childhood.
does
Are we allowed to cry on the podcast?
It's actually a required stipulation on the podcast.
yeah. Laughing, crying. Remember? Do you remember? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you got any shows coming up?
Rod?
Yes, I think we have one in the
Ozfest.
works for Ozfest. The Buzz Bake Sale, Zeta Fest,
yeah.
There's a
and
Fest. Marley Fest.
There's one in the works for February.
Warped Tour?
Not sure where exactly. Probably in Lake Worth.
Okay.
And then the 561 Music Fest in March.
Yeah.
We're not announcing those bands
Plug,
yet, so
plug.
you're not playing yet.
Yeah. Wishful thinking. Now we have to.
Yeah,
It's
I
on the
know,
airwaves.
right?
And then there's an undisclosed location, undisclosed date that you guys are going to be playing with Euphoria. It's
Yes.
undisclosed because we haven't
Wonderful.
figured that out yet.
Yeah, there you
We'll
go.
also be playing the alley behind the Checkers off of South 6th Avenue South in Dixie.
Good stuff.
It'll be catered.
It will be catered by Checkers.
All the big Bufords you
All
can
the big
eat.
Bufords you can eat.
Hell yeah.
What's
And-
a big Buford?
Well, if you gotta ask, you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
burger,
fair point.
It's basically tumor on a Kaiser roll.
But they're chicken fries, like the fries that are made in the same, like the same.
They're
oil.
doing the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Everything's cooked
Everything
in
in there.
It all
I
tastes.
think
it
they
all,
make the
amorphous.
milkshakes in that thing.
It's possible.
I'm going, but it's
Fry
but
breaded
we-
milkshakes.
Yeah, that's our
I'm in.
unofficial. But we're actually, can we give a shout out to Arby's?
Oh yeah.
That's our official fast food sponsor.
there you
Arby's.
go.
We've
Has
got
been
the
for about-
meats.
we have the meats.
Yeah.
Just
Half
don't
of
ask where they come from.
Half of going on tour with the Zoo Peculiars is finding Arby's
Yes.
wherever we go, and it's terrible.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a while too. Like one time we got off of an Exodus tour. It was the middle of the night, and we were not the middle of the night. It was
It was just late
early
enough.
evening,
Probably like 10:30.
but
Dinner time.
dinner
Yeah.
time. You know,
Just stirring.
and we in Maryland, and
We were a bit peckish.
and we saw like, oh, there's an Arby's here. We're in the limousine. We get off, and we drive like we don't see it. We go like 20 miles
Next thing we know, we're
on
in
a dark
Annapolis.
highway. We're in Annapolis. Then there it was, just an Arby's in the middle of a split between two highways.
shining
Bites-
Oh my
beacon.
word.
and beautiful.
And a light
That
shining
fucking
down
on
hat. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And all you could
And
smell was a
can you
toasted
believe it?
onion
The
roll.
angels
They
started
have
singing.
it. They have it.
Did they have the meats?
There's
Yeah, they
horseradish
did.
in
They
there.
had
And
Yes, they
then
did.
And
they
then,
were closed.
And then no, they were open. And then, but then
I don't eat.
You got the
Arby's,
weirdest
yeah.
thing there. You got like a
I got like a buffalo chicken
salad.
sandwich or something weird.
No, I think you got like some sort of health shake.
Yeah, I got a health shake.
From
It was made
Arby's.
of meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
And
meat.
like
Kale, a
shake?
kale shake.
Kale.
turkey salad.
Yeah, turkey
you're
salad,
killing me,
kale
man. I
shakes.
love Arby's.
Yeah.
You're
It's
killing
the
me.
what do you mean? It's the greatest. Well, that's we can't speak ill of them
They
because they're the
love it.
best.
You know what's crazy is like we have to figure out who can drive after that because we have to check each other's pants. Like, all right, who shit themselves?
Well,
Well, we
Whoever
don't.
didn't shit themselves.
It's usually
drives.
one person.
well, yeah. I'm not gonna say anything.
Frank.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm sorry about
Yeah.
that. But you know what goes in must come
Yeah.
out.
I mean, eventually.
And you
Yeah.
know, there's a lot of there's a
Sometimes
lot of
sooner than
lipids.
later.
There's a lot of lipids in there. You know,
There's some funny stories there relating to James's other band, but I'm not going to go there. Anyway, so Max's lineup on Friday the 10th of November is we're
us.
playing there.
Yep.
Yeah, so we are. Max's lineup is a really good restaurant in Jupiter. The food is amazing, and
US 1 and Indiantown.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's sort of on the beach side.
Yep.
And yeah, we're going to be playing that. I'm looking forward to that. My mum and brother are coming again. So
Nice.
yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then James and I are playing at the Square Grouper on Saturday from 3 to 6.
Yep.
Gonna make sweet music at the Square Grouper. Good stuff.
maybe Paul Castrodova will be there.
You never know.
Is it still called the Square Grouper?
That is.
Yeah. It is, and now there's another one in Fort Pierce.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And they're identical. It's really weird. Yeah, and then that's it, right?
That's
it for this weekend. Is there some kind of thing I'm forgetting or no? Just no, I guess it's because I kind of kept it free so I could hang out with my family. That's what's going on with that. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you,
You're
guys.
charming and hilarious and incredibly
Charming.
well dressed. And
It's the only time that
good
anyone's ever said that to us, John.
oh, you're charming.
except the king, our Uncle
I do
Charles.
I do work for the king.
Yeah, of course you do. You're an agent. Everyone knows it.
His Majesty's Secret Service.
His Majesty, what a darling.
So weird that it's His Majesty now.
Yeah, it's
I can't get used to it.
well, she was kind of I don't know, but
So you have strong opinions.
well, you know,
remember?
Buckingham that one time. Oh man, that's a different time. You know, it's a different
One time in Buckingham. Yeah.
one time at Buckingham.
Yikes.
Oof.
On that note,
All right, guys. Thanks so much. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thank
you
you for
coming on.
putting up with us.
Yeah.
No, it's our pleasure, man. It's our pleasure. All right. See you later.
Goodbye.